Alrighty, welcome back everyone to the third and final part of the Kingdom Hearts 3, the great Kingdom Hearts 3 Spoilercast. And as always, I am Razorblade Mango.
And I am the richest man.
And today we will, like I say, we're going to be finishing our discussion about Kingdom Hearts 3. Today we'll be going into the ending, the secret movie, the epilogue, Remind, and thoughts on the future of the franchise. So we've got a lot of ground to cover. Hopefully we'll get this done. So let's just jump right into this. So last time we talked, we got to the ending of the game, which Sora had just defeated Master Xehanort. And now we reach this point where everyone starts to come into Scarlet Kyllem, and Xehanort is kind of like, no, I have not lost. I will beat you. I just give me a sec to get up because I'm old. I'm an old man. Just give me a sec. Where's my cane? Where's my walker? But then Terra, which, you know, we all knew, it was very heavily hinted at back in Birth by Sleep, the Blank Point secret ending, that Master Ericus's heart resided inside of Terra after he got killed. It's a similar situation to like when Kairi gets swept away in the hidden room on Destiny Islands in Kingdom Hearts 1.
Wait, Ericus was inside Terra's heart?
Yes. How do you think he like jumps out of him at the end? So they hint at it. I don't know. You've played Birth by Sleep more than I have. How do you not know that?
I don't know.
How do you not know that? You're like the biggest Birth by Sleep fanboy I know. How do you not know that?
I don't know.
Oh my god.
You do realize I realized things too late, Adam.
No, but they heavily imply it. Like, it's like...
Gosh damn, Master Ericus. When I saw him appear, though, I got emotional there. I was like,
well, I knew that was going to happen eventually. I was Ericus has to come out at some point.
And then you see the whole Birth by Sleep trio crying and sobbing for their master.
Well, yeah, because look at the way that story turned out. That was horrible. And I don't mean that in a bad connotation. I mean that like it was like tragic horrible.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It was tragic horrible.
Well, when Ericus like fades away in Terra's arms, he like his heart goes into Terra. So that's been there this whole time. And Xehanort knew this because when there's that secret ending to Birth by Sleep, Xehanort and Terra, they're having that conversation together, and Xehanort, like, he knows, like, he goes like, oh, Ericus, you sly fox, like he knows that Ericus, his heart is inside of Terra. Like, he knows. Xehanort's not stupid. He's an evil asshole, but he's not stupid. So this is actually the part, like, okay, so a lot of my problems with this game, story-wise, aside from the pacing and aside from the whole Kairi thing, is, like, I don't like the way Xehanort's story ends here. I think he gets off way too easily. And
I kind of wasn't too satisfied with it either, to be honest.
I wanted Sora to, like, kick the shit out of him and destroy him, like they do with Ansem, like they do with Xemnas in Kingdom Hearts 2, and it's like, why couldn't we have gotten him, like, dying in this? Like, he just kind of goes, like it's like Sora just forgot that a few moments ago Xehanort killed his girlfriend. Like, it's like it's like he just forgot. He was like, oh, okay. Like, Xehanort just goes, oh, here, well done, young man. Here's the Keyblade. Here you go. And Sora's all, like, smiling and happy, and I'm like, fuck no. I would have knocked the shit out of him with that thing.
Yeah, I would have kicked his ass, too. Look, I'm not usually the revenge type of guy, but in this case, it would have made more sense for Sora to kill him or something. It made sense. Like, I just see him like, oh, he goes with a smile. He fades away with Ericus, and then Ericus tells the Birth by Sleep trio to forgive him, they fade away, and then I'm just like, what the fuck is this?
It's like that. I hate it. I hate it when like big villains, unless there is a serious road to redemption, like what's a really good example? I guess even like Xemnas here, where Xemnas is a giant piece of shit. He's like an evil piece of shit. But the way he like not redeems himself, but the way he goes out, like it's like you feel sorry for him, almost, kind of, sort of. Similar with like Ansem, when they fade away, I felt like that was better. That made more sense. But like Xehanort, it's like he killed Kairi. Why is somebody who killed Kairi getting a happy ending for their arc? Like that does not satisfy me on a storytelling level.
I mean, in the end, Xehanort did die, but
yeah, but he does that whole like, oh, I'm gonna transform into my younger self and ascend to heaven with my best friend. I'm like, get the fuck out of here with that shit. Yeah, get out of here with that.
That was stupid. It didn't make fucking sense. It kind of ruined the vibe for Xehanort for me, because it was always like, for me,
he's just some pathetic old man by the end.
And I've told you this, Adam. Xehanort's my all-time favorite villain in the franchise. Well, I don't know about that. It's debatable. Next to Vanitas. Vanitas is, I love Vanitas a lot, but ever since Xehanort, the way Xehanort's story ended, it kind of just killed it for me. Like for him, like I don't even know if he's. It kind of ruins the vibe for me.
I don't know if it ruins it for me. Not fully. I just didn't find his ending all that satisfying. But I think his impact in like Birth by Sleep and the beginning and like the parts of 3 that are really good, I think those are still impactful. But I think a lot of that has to do more with like the voice performances rather than like the writing. Because Leonard Nimoy and Rutger Hauer like killed it. They totally killed it with Xehanort. So anyway, he then Sora then uses the Keyblade to lock he gets rid of the evil influence from Kingdom Hearts, and then they arrive back at the Keyblade graveyard, and everyone's like, "Oh, we did it! We're so happy!" And Sora goes, he's like, "No, like Kairi's still out there. I'm gonna go find her." And okay, so, or maybe I'm jumping the gun a little bit here. So he says, "Oh, I have to go find Kairi," and then Mickey tells him, like, "No, like, don't do that because you're abusing the power of waking," which is something that young Xehanort warned Sora about while Sora was going around waking everyone up after the initial attempt at the Keyblade graveyard, and Riku kind of goes, "Oh, trust him, let us trust Sora that he knows what he's doing." So Sora then, goes off, and they start playing the, like the classic Simple and Clean theme song, but we don't see what happens with Sora, not yet anyway. So, and I'll get to that later. But then we get to like a montage of everybody like reuniting and everybody's happy, like Mickey and Minnie are reunited finally. Yen Sid is even there, and there's like fireworks over Disney Castle, which I thought was really nice.
Birth by Sleep trio at Ericus's grave with his Keyblade.
That's a nice moment.
And then you see the Cheruthi appear, and then you see Ventus carrying him,
which I couldn't have given less of a shit about. I was like, oh.
I thought it was adorable.
I don't care.
But it's like, at the same time, I'm like,
they did such a terrible job. People that haven't played Key are gonna look at that and be like, what the fuck was that? Like what was that? That makes no sense.
Well, because Ventus is part of the Dandelions.
Okay, but they never explained that in Kingdom Hearts 3.
I know! That's the dumb part. And I don't even understand, how the fuck is he a Dandelion when he ended up with Saint... You know what? Fuck it. Let's get that.
We'll be here all fucking day trying to figure that out. So then we get... I think it's Twilight Town that's next.
Oh yeah, Twilight Time.
That was the moment I really liked, like seeing all of them in their casual, like Roxas, Shion, and Axel in their casual clothes, and then Hayner, Pence, and Olette show up, and they have ice cream, and then Ice is there, and they get picked up by the gummy ship for some unknown reason, which like, okay, I really like that moment when they're just sitting there on the clock tower and like just staring off into the sunset, and I love that. I think that's great. Naminé finally gets her own physical form from a replica, and then Riku arrives in the gummy ship and takes her away for some unknown reason. And the reason we find out is because everybody's having a party on Destiny Islands. They're all like celebrating, they're all hanging out, which I think that is a great moment. And when the song when Don't Think Twice starts playing, I thought, like, I don't have like recorded footage of like my face during those moments, but my face during those moments were like, I was happy, like I was like smiling. I was like, oh, that's so nice, that's so good. Like, yeah. Everyone's reunited. Hayner, Pence, Olette, and Roxas finally go to the fucking beach. Roxas, Shion, and Axel finally go to the beach. They all have a nice party. Everyone's in like these new trendy Tetsuno Nomura clothes. And
the beach
sandcastles, which
the statues too. And then you see the statue fall apart and it lands on Donald.
Yeah. And then in a scene that and I wouldn't have noticed this if I hadn't just replayed Kingdom Hearts 1. There's a part where in Kingdom Hearts 1 where I think it's like Donald's about to rush to Sora when he's with Kairi, but Goofy kind of like holds him back so they can have a moment so Sora and Kairi can have a moment together. And that happens as well here, where Donald's about to go see like somebody off in the distance, and we realize it's Sora later, but then Mickey and Goofy kind of like hold him back because like let Sora have a moment with Kairi. And Riku's there as well, and Riku's like, he stares off. And the moment, so Sora and Kairi, they're sitting there on the Palpo fruit tree, and the one that they used to sit on when they were kids, back in all the way in Kingdom Hearts 1. They're holding hands, staring off into the sunset, and Kairi is crying, like she has tears in her eyes, and it's like, oh, what? And I was thinking like, oh, what a nice happy ending. This is so wonderful. And then,
you see Sora fade.
Sora fucking is Avengers Infinity Ward out of fucking existence. And then it just, boom, cuts to credits. And, you know that meme of like, that black, where they have like the 2-shot panel of the one black guy at the top where he's like, he's happy, and then it cuts to the bottom and the black guy's face is like, huh? Like he's like devastated or shocked. That was my exact reaction to that final moment in Kingdom Hearts 3, where I was literally, I was happy, and then a second later, I just went, what? And I just I felt empty inside.
I was sad when I saw that.
I didn't know how to process it when I first saw it. Like, I did not know how to process it. I just was like, what? Like, when it happened. And I think, part of this has to do with, because I think that whole scene, I get what Nomura was going for with it, to try to add like an air of mystery to it and all, and whatnot, and like to shock the player. Which he said, like, when he was promoting Kingdom Hearts 3, he said there will be scenes in it that will shock players. And that was definitely one of them, where Sora fades away, like, technically dies, in quotes? I guess? He dies? I guess?
Yeah?
I guess. Like, but we don't know where he ends up yet. So I have a I've grown to like this scene more because I think it adds to like the bittersweet melancholy that I like from the first 2 numbered games. However, I think it's lacking a lot of context because it feels like it's missing a scene Like, it's missing a scene between...
That's why, because they didn't explain. They didn't explain how Sora went to go save Kairi.
Yes. They vaguely explain what happens. Vaguely, where it's like the power of waking can be abused and you'll lose yourself. And it's like, okay. And yes, that was set up, but for the emotional impact to be there, I feel like there should have been another like whole sequence after it. I feel like after the Xehanort fight, there should have been a moment like in Dream Drop Distance when Riku dives into Sora's heart to save him. I felt like that should have been the moment. And that's another problem I have with this whole thing. It's like, why did Sora need to be the one to go? If he was already one more dive away from abusing his power and like dying, why didn't Riku or Mickey go? They're masters. Like, Riku, we know, can do this. He has this power. Why didn't Riku do this? Like, I get that Sora wants to save people and he's stubborn, but it's like you've got to think pragmatically with shit like this. And I just look at it and I'm like, why didn't Riku do it? Riku had not been doing any waking of hearts or anything. All he had to do was just go in there and everyone could be reunited on the island. But it's like the writing just railroads Sora into being like, oh, I have to save Kairi. And it's like, okay, I get you love her, I get that she's your girlfriend, but is that really worth it? Like rescuing her and then leaving her devastated for your death just because you're the one that had to do it? It doesn't make any sense to me. It's stupid.
A sacrifice for your loved one is worth it.
That's worth it, but there are better games that do it.
Yeah, in this case, no.
Like my go-to example for like and if they were going for like a doomed romance kind of thing, there are better games that do that. Like my go-to the one game that I kept thinking of in like comparing it to Kingdom Hearts 3's ending is Final Fantasy X, which is like
I haven't played it.
Which is the best, and I'm gonna spoil it for you. Which is like the best Final Fantasy game.
I honestly don't care because I
have
really
to talk
don't.
about this.
It's gonna be a long time until I play that.
All right, so spoilers for Final Fantasy for the ending of Final Fantasy X, okay, which is the greatest Final Fantasy game ever made. Like I love Final Fantasy X. Okay, so at the very end of it, it's revealed that when they defeat the bad guy, Seymour, when they defeat Seymour or Sin or whatever, I think it's like Seymour Sin. It's been a while since I played it. Titus realizes that he is not a part of the world that he's in, and he has to fade away along with everybody else. But that means saying goodbye to Yuna, who at this point has become like his love. So it's a heartbreaking moment where like they have to say goodbye, and Yuna, like when Yuna is like no, I don't want to let you go, but we understand the context as to why Titus has to leave, why they have to be separated. We get it. It's not some bullshit writing thing. It's like they've explained it very well, and it's sad, and I feel like they earned that sad ending, that bittersweet ending, and it's emotional too. It's done a lot better too. Like in the moment where they're like, it's like the Yuna and Titus like wraps his arms around her for the final time, and she says, you know, I love you, and he fades away, and it's heartbreaking to watch because you've been with these characters for so long, and it's over this like multi-hour adventure. To see it end like this is heartbreaking, and it hits its mark really well. But because like the relationship between Sora and Kairi is like so underdeveloped in this game, in Kingdom Hearts 3, I just don't get that impact aside from, oh, like Sora's fading away. If you had never played any of the past games before going into Kingdom Hearts 3, you would just be like, okay. But I guess with that context of like the past two games, it's there, but it's like they don't really do a good job of developing it in Kingdom Hearts 3.
No, yeah, they don't.
And when Sora fades away, it's like oh, like you're shocked, but it's like you don't get that, like you don't have that context behind it. And it's like, again, it's like Nomura has to fucking go, and it's like it drives me nuts.
He wants to continue the series.
Yes,
that or Square is controlling him.
No, I think Nomura wants to do it.
Why? I wanted it to end.
But we knew it wasn't going to.
I knew it wasn't going to, but at least you could have given it an ending where the franchise would have been good, even if the series were to never continue.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So then that's literally the ending. Like,
okay.
If they had never released like a secret movie or an epilogue, that's the ending. That's like,
okay.
What the fuck when it happens.
Oh, the epilogue. The epilogue got me excited.
It got me interested, but it makes me nervous at the same time.
Well, yeah, because it's all connected to fucking Key. I wanna. Why can't they just make a movie out of all the cutscenes for Key? Like, ignore all the filler. Just
they tried taking like the most important part from it with the back cover movie, but it's like it's still a mess. Like, it's still a giant mess. Like, he is still a mess. So we get, well, let's explain what the epilogue is. The epilogue is there's some hooded figure at the Keyblade graveyard, and he, like, Master Ericus's Keyblade is like flung from the sky and lands on the ground, and this guy picks it up and says, "Finally, back where it belongs."
Ericus's Keyblade? You mean Xehanort's?
Oh, sorry, Xehanort's Keyblade. So, so then 4 out of the 5 original foretellers are summoned. Everyone except Ava is there. And it's revealed that this is like Lushu they're talking to, but he still has the hood on. And finally, after like a couple years of knowing who Lushu is, we finally get to see who it is. And it's one of my favorite characters in the series, thank God. It's Xigbar. It's revealed that Xigbar is Lushu.
And then it turned out that Lushu left his body somewhere when he time traveled, so he ended up taking that form.
He's taken multiple forms apparently. Like, he says, like, I've cast away my body and I've done this like multiple times, but it's still me underneath it all. Or something like that. Something along those lines.
So then how does his real body look like?
I don't know. We don't know. All I care about is that he's Xigbar. That's all I care about. And Xigbar is one of the best characters in the series, and I was so happy that it's Xigbar, that he's going to be, like, I guess, a main villain in the future, which is awesome. So,
yep.
But then we see him. He has the black box, which he's had the black box for many years now, and he says, like, my role that the master gave me has been played out. And his role, I'm going to assume, was to be the traitor and to, like, pass down the Keyblade to people for some unknown reason until it finally reaches this point where he has control over it again in order to do something that the Master of Masters wanted to do. And that's why he summoned, like, the other four foretellers besides Ava. And here's the thing, like, we don't know where Ava is. We don't know if she's that star in the final world. We don't know if she's dead. We don't know if she's in another world. We don't know. We don't know where Ava is.
She's leading the dandelions.
She's dead, though. Like, Lushu kills her, I think. Doesn't Lushu kill her in one of them? Or he does something to her.
No, not from what I remember.
He does
when I
something.
Saw the Key
like,
summary.
There's a conversation that they have in Key where she asks him, like, Lushu, are you the traitor? And it's like, yeah, he's the traitor. And, like, Lushu tells Ava, like, what he has to do. But then again, I guess he does mention, like, Ava couldn't make it after all. So he knows what Ava is doing. And I guess what Ava did, it fulfilled her role. And that's where we're at. And we see Pete and Maleficent in the background. So it's like, alright, I guess they're still around. Are they still... Oh, I forgot they were even in the game by that point. Because they're so useless throughout the whole thing.
Yep, they are now. And then you see them look at the black box and it just ends there.
Well, he goes... you said... I think it's Ased. Like, Ased goes, like, I've heard enough. What was your role? And Zigbar looks at the black box and says, I hope you like long stories. And my first thought is, that depends. Is this long story gonna take fucking 14, 15, 16 years to finally unravel before you tease another fucking story with this?
Because how many years did it take for this entire saga?
17.
Saga to end? 17 years.
17 or 18, I think.
And when was the first Kingdom Hearts game?
I think it, like, for America, I know it was 2002, but for Japan, it might have been even earlier.
2002. You want to know how old I was that year?
How old were you?
I was 7 years old.
Well, let's look this up. Let's see if it came out earlier in Japan, because I'm pretty sure it came out sooner in Japan than in America.
I don't want to wait until I'm 30 or 40.
Oh no, I was right. I was right. March 28th, 2002 is when it came out in Japan, and September 17th is when it came out in America.
I don't want to wait until I'm 30 or 40 to keep playing this game.
You won't have a choice. You're gonna have to. Like, we don't have a choice. That's the sad part.
We do have a choice.
No, we don't. Because I want to play it. I want to know what happens. I've invested too many years in this series to just drop it now.
Will Nomura be alive still by then?
He'll be alive. He's like 50. He'll be fine.
For another 30 years, people in Japan.
Yeah, but he's gotta like train a protege at some point to take an heir to take up the franchise. Unless he ends the franchise before he dies, which is always a possibility.
I'd rather please end it before you die, Nomura, please.
So, I was 9 when Kingdom Hearts came out. So I've been with this series but I didn't get into. I was 12 when Kingdom Hearts 2 came out in America. So I've been with this franchise for almost 15 years. I ain't stopping now just because they tease some bullshit at the end.
Okay. Yeah, no, same.
And we get to a moment where Ericus, and Xehanort and their younger selves are playing a chess game, and they're like, "Oh, well, I beat you, blah blah blah," and then Ericus goes, "Oh, I have another game for you to play," and it's 1 Piece versus 7, and I'm gonna assume those 7 are it's Sora versus Master of Masters, Luxu, and the 5 Foretellers. Maybe the 4 Foretellers and 1 other person, if Ava is not part of this equation.
Yeah, I can see it.
And he goes, "Oh, well, how's this game played?" And then Ericus is like, "Just watch," and that's that. Then we get to the secret movie, which, if you thought that they were going to explain what the fuck happened, because I saw some people like, "Oh, the secret movie will definitely explain what happened with Sora." No, clearly you don't know Nomura like we do. So, in this weird ass secret movie, which I'm sure we'll get context for, because the secret movie to Kingdom Hearts 1 makes no fucking sense until you've played 2, and you understand it after you've played 2. So
yeah, so 3's ending is not gonna make sense till 4 comes out.
Maybe not even then.
Maybe not until Remind comes out, probably.
And I doubt it. I think Remind is going to be fucking frustrating as hell on the story level. Because it's going to tease more things, and I'm going to be like, God damn it, show me what I want to know. And that won't happen. Because Nomura, that's just how he Nomura's. So the secret movie is Sora is in this, I think he's in Shibuya from The World Ends With You.
Yeah, it looks like it.
I think he is, and he wakes up in this, Shibuya world. But then Riku's there, and Riku's in another part of the world. It looks like he's in, Tokyo or something.
Are they, in the same world, but different dreams?
Well, here's the thing. It's almost like a Square Enix verse. If you want to call it like that, because not only is World Ends With You there, well, we assume it is, because it's Shibuya. Not only is Shibuya there, not only is Yozora there, which Yozora is there from the Toy Story cameo. Like, we thought, ha, it's a nice little, like, it's like poking fun at Final Fantasy 15. It's like the vision of Final Fantasy 15 that Nomura wanted before he got removed from the project. No, Nomura's still pissed off about Final Fantasy 15. He's like, fuck you guys. If you guys won't let me do Final Fantasy 15, I'm gonna put Final Fantasy 15 in Kingdom Hearts. Go fuck yourself. But he made, instead of putting like Noctis and all those characters in, he's doing his own like weirdo in-game cameo featuring mutant hybrid thing where Yozora is there, which is like, what? And even the secret movie is called Yozora. So it's like what the fuck? And also to add more like what the fuck on top of it, they briefly play like both Dearly Beloved, and they play the theme, the main theme from Final Fantasy 15. They play Somnus at the very end when it shows Yozora. Like, you hear the beginning, the intro, and the piano. That is definitely Somnus from Final Fantasy 15. I know that anywhere. And it doesn't even stop there, because then we get to somebody on a building, a tall skyscraper in the organization 13.
Masters.
It was the Master of Masters, and he makes like this heart-shaped symbol in front of the moon, and it ends there. And we didn't know if it was the Master of Masters, but Nomura has come out and said like, yeah, it's the Master of Masters. So the Master of Masters is clearly going to play a big part in the future. Like, clearly he will. Clearly.
Yes. Yes, he will.
Which I'm both excited about and nervous about, because like I said in my video, my main concern with the future of this franchise is that it's going to get into some even goofier shit later on that I'm going to lose interest in.
My biggest worry is it's more on Key, man. I want Key to end it already. But
they're never going to. It makes too much money for Square Enix.
Doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure
it doesn't matter.
It has to end at some point.
No, it will never end. It will keep going until the end of time.
I don't have the energy to keep playing that.
Yeah, you do. You'll play it. I know you will. I know. Don't bullshit me. I know you will. I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you like, oh no, I'm never gonna. Don't bullshit me. I know you will.
Key?
No, I meant like the future.
Oh no, I'm gonna play those.
Oh, okay. Key? That's what I thought.
I don't have the energy for.
No, I don't have the energy for Key either. I just find it grindy as shit.
Well, it's not just that. It's like it wastes batteries on our phone. So
the controllers that waste batteries on the controllers with the PS4.
I know, but think about it. Our phones are an everyday thing. We use it in case of an emergency, or if we need to make a call, or to text people.
Well, that's what Key is designed to do. Key is designed to be played in small bursts, unless you want to pay more money. It's not designed to be like this marathon thing until they do like a 0 AP weekend.
Yeah, that's the thing though. I can't do it.
I just find it boring. I just get over it after a while.
Well, yeah, because it's like you beat the mission, it says quest clear, and then you get the menu, you get all your stuff, and then you go on to the next one, repeat, and I'm just like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. So anyway, that is Kingdom Hearts 3.
We never got to the reminder future.
Well, I'm talking about like that's the base game of Kingdom Hearts 3.
Hey.
So that's the base game. And now we're going to be getting Remind, which is I don't know if this is the only expansion pack that we're getting, or we're getting multiple.
I think it's the only one.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be the only one.
After that, I wouldn't be surprised if Nomura goes on to make the next game.
No, he's doing Final Fantasy. He's got to juggle Final Fantasy VII Remake, he's got to juggle Key, and he's got to juggle the next one. So we're probably not going to see the next Kingdom Hearts for another like 5 years or so after Remind comes out.
Wait, the next Final Fantasy? You mean 16?
No, I mean 7-2 of Remake.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Unless someone else becomes director on it. We don't know. He's not confirmed to be the director of the next part of Final Fantasy VII Remake, but he very well could be. Because he's like one of the and we've talked about this before. Nomura, say what you will about him, he's one of the very few people at Square Enix that is like a brand name, like one of the big guys there. There's Kitase, there's Nomura, there's Yoko Taro, who's a part of Platinum, but he's like a big part of it now because Square Enix is with Nier Automata. There's the guy that does Final Fantasy 14.
There's the guy that does Dragon Quest.
Yes, which even he's like aging at this point. There's the guy that does Dragon Quest. Who else? Who else is there? That's really about it. That's all I can think of, at least. As far as like the newer generation, like before the dinosaurs like keel over one day, we've got Nomura, and even it's like he's on his way out. And I think Tabata was gonna be like the next guy in line, but he was like they thank God they got rid of him. I know that sounds mean to say, but I cannot fucking stand Final. And I know that's not all Tabata's fault, but I think Tabata, even like with his past stuff, is such an inept storyteller that it's like good. I'm glad he's gone. Fuck that guy.
No, my God.
Fuck Hajime Tabata. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but as a game designer, fuck that guy. 15 was one of the most disappointing games I've ever played, and I was so happy when they finally announced, yeah, it's finally going to be over. And I was like, yes, thank you.
They canceled everything.
Good, cancel it all. Start anew. Final Fantasy VII Remake is basically Final Fantasy 16 anyway at this point. Like with how fucking enormous it is. It's gonna be. It'll be a long fucking time before we get Final Fantasy 16.
Yes,
it will. Long ass time.
Which I'm fine with.
You know what? I hope they give it to Nomura. I really do. Like, even with Nomura like being in charge of Kingdom Hearts, I really hope they give him another chance, because what he was going to do with 15 looks so much better than what we ended up getting. And I know most of that was bullshit, what we saw, but after Kingdom Hearts 3, I'm like, and what I've seen with Final Fantasy VII Remake, I'm like, give this man Final Fantasy 16, please. Don't give it to some other asshole. Just give it to Nomura. Give it to, hell, give it to Kitase. Have him direct another one. He directed like 3 of the best ones in the series.
Have the Dragon Quest guy do it.
Sure, why not? He'd bring a unique spin to it.
But he's probably working on another Dragon Quest game right now.
Probably.
Okay, well, we went off topic for a bit.
So. You know, not a bad thing, but Remind. Okay. There's a lot we don't know about it, because of course they've got their like fucking, you know. Apparently Kitase also directed Chrono Trigger. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that. Or he was co-directed Chrono Trigger, which is pretty cool. So,
I forgot what I saw in that trailer, to be honest.
I didn't forget, but it's just, a lot of it just felt like a blur most of the time. Like,
well, that's how I felt
when I first watched it. And then when I went and like dissected everything, I was like, oh, this is going on, this is what's going on, this is what's going on. So it's like, there's a lot of stuff in that trailer, but again, we like, similar to how it is at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3, we don't have a lot of context behind it.
I want my Vanitas boss fight. That's all. That's the one thing I care about right now.
Sure.
I want my Vanitas boss fight, the challenging one, not the stupid easy one that we fought with fucking Aqua. I don't care what anyone says. Oh, that fight was awesome. No, it was not.
That fight was awesome. What are you talking about?
No, it wasn't. He wasn't challenging.
Doesn't have to be challenging for it to be fun.
I wanted it too. It was too easy. I didn't like it.
Doesn't have to be.
I didn't enjoy it.
Whatever,
I don't care.
Whatever.
I don't care. I want my Vanitas fight.
If you want to fondle, I know you want to fondle Vanitas' balls, but it's like, no. Fighting him as Aqua was fun. I don't care about difficulty. It was fun. in that moment. I was like, whatever.
I care about.
Then play it on critical.
Okay, not that far.
No, you want challenge, bitch? Like, hey, there, they gave you challenge. You fucking play on. Have you even touched critical yet?
No.
Play it on critical. Critical will whoop your motherfucking ass.
Watch them announce a new mode, Critical Plus.
Oh Jesus Christ! I can't fucking hang with critical even in Kingdom Hearts 3. It's hard.
Okay.
So
okay, look,
there's like a lot of shit going on in that trailer that I just don't know about.
Oh yeah, Namine? They're gonna explain about Shion?
When is that coming into play? Where Namine has a physical form and Sora's in the dive to heart. When does that happen? I'd like to know when that happens, please, because that doesn't. My first thought was like we're gonna see how he rescues Kairi, but it's like he mentions that he doesn't want the Terras to get hurt, which he's obviously talking about Lingering Will and Terranort. So it's like that happens before Kairi gets rescued, because Kairi's still alive when Lingering Will and Terranort fight. So
no, yeah.
And we got like data battles, which we see against Zigbar and Vanitas. We're gonna be getting what else are we gonna be getting? We're gonna be getting the Oblivion and Oathkeeper Keyblades, which should have been in the game to fucking begin with. I don't know why they weren't in the game. At least they're free, which is nice. I don't want to pay for fucking Oathkeeper and Oblivion, which is stupid. But everything besides Oathkeeper and Oblivion, everything else is gonna be everything else you have to pay for, which I'm like, and I've seen people compare it to like what they did with Final Fantasy 15, where they're like, oh, if you want to know more of the story, you have to pay for the DLC. It fills in the gaps. I don't agree with that comparison, because I think 15's base vanilla story is so like unbelievably incompetently told.
Wait,
it has so many gaps. Huh?
Wait, what did you say about 3 again? About paying for all the DLC?
That you have to pay for everything except Oathkeeper and Oblivion. Those are going to be free.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm fine
but
with that.
People, like I said, people have compared that, like, you have to pay for the extra story stuff. They've compared to, like, negatively to, like, Final Fantasy 15. And I don't agree, because Final Fantasy 15's story was a big pile of shit in vanilla version. I don't give a fuck how many cutscenes they had or story patches or DLCs they released for it. 15's base story was a giant fucking disaster of storytelling. It was terrible. It was so poorly told and executed that I was like, what? Like, I just could not believe my eyes and ears what I was seeing and hearing from that fucking game when I played it. So you had to pay extra though for those cutscenes that filled in the gaps. You had to pay extra to get the characters when they go away for some mysterious reason. You're like, oh, what'd they do? Oh, okay, well, pay us $10 and you'll find out. It's like, no, fuck that shit. And I get that it's a story like set after the game, and I kind of see their point with Remind, I guess. But I think the base game with Kingdom Hearts 3 is satisfying enough to where it doesn't feel like a slap to the face having Remind be paid. Like, that's fine. Like, they did that with the past games too, with Final Mix in Kingdom Hearts 1, they did it with Final Mix in Kingdom Hearts 2. So it's like it makes sense, and at least you don't have to pay, you don't have to buy another fucking game to get Final Mix. You probably are gonna have to pay like $15-20 for Remind. That's okay. I'm willing to pay for that. I don't want to buy Kingdom Hearts 3 again and spend another $60 just to get more content. Final Mix. Unless it's something substantial like the upcoming Persona 5 The Royale, which is basically going to be an entirely brand new game with the stuff that they've been showing. Which I'm fine with that, because Persona 5 is a masterpiece, and I would gladly pay for more Persona 5. But with Kingdom Hearts 3, it's like, at least they're not doing like another $60 thing. We're in the age of the internet, we're in the age of patches and DLC and whatever. It's not the PS2 era. Here you go, $20 for Remind. I don't have a problem with that. I really don't.
I don't have a problem with that either. I don't have a problem with it either.
Yeah.
Ah, gosh damn.
But the battles look awesome. Like all the new like co-op modes that you can, not the co-op mode, but like the group attacks you can do with Roxas, Shion, and Axel look awesome. There's that move where Aqua and Aqua has like the ice cascade that Ventus is riding down and attacks Terranort with it, which is awesome.
What if all those data battles are probably just the boss battles you can do for fun on the side?
Yeah, they will be.
Like kind of like how it was in Birth by Sleep, kind of ish.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and 2.
I think more 2 just because it's Organization 13 that you're fighting against.
I would hope so. Just make it more challenging.
Look, they have like 14 fucking health bars. Of course, it's gonna be more challenging.
Good, and give me the option to choose my Keyblade builder too.
They probably won't.
I know, sadly they won't. There's just too many characters.
And
I wish you could use them all, but you can't.
And those like extra scenarios, they're not baked into the main campaign. They're like they've confirmed already that those are only separate once you can play those once you finish the main campaign. So if you're going in there and expecting them to rewrite the Keyblade Graveyard segment, that ain't happening. So you better get that thought out of your head real quick. Like that's not happening. They're not changing it to where Sora just leaves and then you get to play as Roxas and beat the shit out of Sayax. That's not happening.
Oh my gosh. I would just...
I think it's coming out in 2020. I think they're going to do another thing where it's like winter 2019. I'm like, bullshit. Like coming this winter? No, it's not. It'll be like February or January.
It's not coming this year.
Yeah. It'll be like January at the very earliest, I bet.
February.
Do you think February?
I think February.
I think January just because of like it will mark like a year since Kingdom Hearts 3 came out.
February.
I still can't fucking believe Kingdom Hearts 3 came out.
February. If it comes out February, holy fucking shit. We already have so much in February.
we have a lot in March, or I have a lot in March. I have a lot in April to get through. I have a lot the whole next spring to get through. That's like they're announcing like 5 new games that are like, oh, here we go, coming out. I'm like, huh? I don't have time to play this shit. I have it bad enough in October. I have it bad enough in November. I don't need it again in March or February.
I know.
So, yeah, that's really all I've got.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 3. It's a hell of a game.
Any concerns for the future? But then technically, I already stated my concerns.
Oh, we did. Where I've already talked about this. Where it's like, I just think it's gonna get sillier and sillier until I just lose interest. That's my main concern with it. And it's just gonna get bogged down in its own lore. Like my go-to example is Yu-Gi-Oh, where like.
But Yu-Gi-Oh ended at least.
Yu-Gi-Oh ended at least, but not before the series just like nosedived off a fucking cliff. Once they started getting into like the Seal of Orichalcos kind of bullshit, that's where I was like, I'm done. And I was like a religious Yu-Gi-Oh watcher when I was in elementary school. I'm talking religiously. Like, do not fuck with me when it's like 10 a.m. or 10:30, whenever the fuck it would come on. Do not fuck with me. I'm watching Yu-Gi-Oh. And even then, like, I think it was a combination of just age and like the series just nosediving after.
Wasn't Seal of Orichalcos the last season though?
No, that was the penultimate season. I think it was like season 5 and then season 6. Like I just avoided season 6. I was like, I'm done. But I think the series like nosedived after the Battle City finals, which once that ended, it was like, all right, I'm done. I don't need to watch this shit anymore. And even then, the Enter the Shadow, the digital world stuff, that like tested my patience after a certain point. Like, I can watch that show now on Netflix and be like, oh, well, at least I don't have to wait another week to find out what the fuck happens. But back then, I don't know how I did it back then. Every time I saw that to be continued, I was just like, fuck. Like, fuck.
Gosh.
So anyway, that's me going off topic talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! But it relates to Kingdom Hearts 3 because I feel like Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be... I feel like its Seal of Orichalcos moment is coming. And it's going to have that moment where I play it and I'm going to go, I'm done. And I'm not going to want to play it anymore because I'm like, this is dumb.
I doubt it. I really doubt it.
You don't think that'll happen?
I don't think it'll happen with you, man. There's always going to be something you're excited for.
You're probably right. Maybe I'm underestimating my own like Kingdom Hearts fandom.
Nomura's gonna put flashy graphics on everything.
I want Final Fantasy characters back. That's really.
I want that. Oh yeah, give us that back. Give us that back.
I want that. Please, can we go back to Traverse Town or Hollow Bastion, and see Leon, Cloud, Yuffie, Tifa, Aerith,
Tifa?
Please? Please?
Tifa deserved Cloud more than Aerith did. I'd prefer Tifa.
The only characters I ship are Sora and Kairi, and that's it. I got what I wanted. I'm good. I don't need to be shipping nobody anymore.
Lies.
No, I don't. I'm not some little kid anymore. I don't need to be like, oh, I will ship these characters.
I guess.
Except on in Persona 5.
Give us Oswald, the lucky rabbit, in Kingdom Hearts as well.
I don't want that little asshole running around. Hell no.
I want him in Kingdom Hearts, man.
No. He's a loser.
Yes, I do.
Keep him in Epic Mickey. I don't want him in fucking Kingdom Hearts.
He deserves to be in Kingdom Hearts. He can be
he does not.
He can be a Mickey's servant.
He's a little asshole, and everybody fucking knows it.
Or maybe Oswald. What if Oswald is the king of the timeless river in that era?
No, I'd want a new world though. I want a new world. I don't want Timeless River. I want a new world that's like black and white. I know,
but if Timeless River comes back, what if you go to that world again, you see Oswald's actually the
That would actually make sense. I'll give you that. Like, in the context of Timeless River, I think Oswald would be okay. Because he's old as shit and no one remembers him and he's a fucking loser. Keep him in there. Keep him in there with that cow and that hen.
Hey, fuck you. Hey, fuck you. Oswald was Disney's original character.
Yeah, and there's a very good reason Disney didn't go with him, because he's a little asshole. So he went with Mickey instead.
No, it wasn't that.
Yeah, it was.
Universal, Disney wanted to split with Universal Studios at the time, and Universal Studios didn't let him keep his character, so he didn't have a choice. So Universal Studios owned the rights to Oswald for the longest time, and then finally Disney managed to buy the character back a few years later.
Nah, it's because he's a little asshole.
No, give me Oswald back. I want Oswald.
In Timeless River, sure, but any other context? No.
If he's in Timeless River, he has to be the king in Timeless River, because that's the time when Mickey wasn't the king.
So, Kingdom Hearts 3. It's out.
Yeah.
We've talked about it for hours on end. Literally hours on end we've talked about it.
Yes. And on top of that, the season finale for this spoiler cast was saved in the end.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, because somebody here hated on someone for only knowing Sylvester Stallone in his role in Spy Kids 3.
You probably should not mention that. That the less said about that embarrassing situation, the better.
I think that was the first time I saw him in theaters. Or in a movie.
You poor soul.
Well, sorry, I didn't watch Rocky. Or maybe I did, but I just never seen
Rocky, Rambo, Cobra,
never seen it.
Demolition Man, Cliffhanger.
Never seen those.
Oh my god. Hopeless. Hopeless. Alright, so that's Kingdom Hearts 3. And yeah, it's a really good game, and I really like it.
Go and buy it now.
Yeah, if you haven't played it, like if you've been watching like this without playing it, I still recommend you go out and play it. Even though you know everything that's going to happen, just go out and play it. It's a fun game. I really enjoy it. I've played it like 5 times by now.
I've only played it once still.
I've played it 5 times by now, so...
Yeah, so go and buy it now. One of the... on sale today.
It actually might be on sale. Maybe. Yeah. It's cheap. Maybe cheap on Amazon.
I'm pretty sure it's $40 by now.
Yeah, that's a good price. I paid fucking $560 to experience it, and I don't regret it.
I paid $80.
I paid $500, yeah, almost $600 for my Kingdom Hearts 3 experience, and I don't regret it. And that's the sign of a good game.
Yes.
All right.
All right. With that being said, guys.
All right. Thank you so much, Richard, for coming on as always.
Of course.
And I will catch you guys later. Bye.
Yeah. Later.